Hello and welcome back to the Roaring Watchman channel. It is wonderful to have you with us again as we continue our journey through the book of Genesis. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. Today we are diving into a chapter that might seem like just a long list of names at first glance, but it is actually a powerful and foundational record of how the world was populated after the Great Flood. We're talking about Genesis chapter 10, often called the Table of Nations. This isn't just ancient history, it's the divine blueprint of how humanity spread across the earth, and it reveals God's meticulous plan for the ages. So, let's start with verse 1. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and unto them were sons born after the flood. This sets the stage. All of humanity that exists today traces its lineage back to these three men and their wives. It's a fresh start, a new beginning for the human race, all originating from one family saved by grace in the ark. Verse 2 begins with the descendants of Japheth, the sons of Japheth, Gomer and Magog and Madai, and Javan and Tubal and Meshech and Tiras. These names might sound unfamiliar, but they are the forefathers of major people groups. For example, historical and biblical scholars often connect these names to the early peoples of Europe and parts of Asia. Javan is widely associated with the Greeks, and the others with peoples around the Black Sea and Anatolia, what is modern-day Turkey. Verses 3 and 4 continue this line. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Riphath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Javan, Elisha, and Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. Here we see the branching out, the second generation. These are not just names, but patriarchs of clans and tribes that would grow into nations. Tarshish, for instance, often refers to a distant, prosperous port, possibly in the western Mediterranean, like Spain. Kittim is associated with Cyprus and other Mediterranean islands. Verse 5 gives us the conclusion for Japheth's line. By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, every one after his tongue, after their families, in their nations. The term Isles of the Gentiles doesn't just mean small islands. It refers to the coastlands, the distant territories reached by sea. This verse is key. It shows a divine order in their separation, by language, by family, and by nation. It was an organized, purposeful expansion. Now we move to the descendants of Ham, starting in verse 6. And the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, and Phut, and Canaan. These are significant names. Mizraim is the Hebrew name for Egypt. Cush is associated with the regions south of Egypt, including Ethiopia and Sudan. Phut is often linked to Libya, and Canaan, of course, is the ancestor of the Canaanites, who inhabited the land later promised to Abraham. Verse 7 lists the sons of Cush, Seba and Havilah, and Sabta and Ramah, and Sabtecha, and the sons of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan. These peoples largely settled in the Arabian Peninsula and parts of East Africa, establishing powerful trading kingdoms. Notice the intricate detail God provides in His Word. Every person, every family mattered in His plan. Then verse 8 introduces a very important figure. And Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. The name Nimrod stands out. The phrase began to be a mighty one suggests he was the first of his kind after the flood, a man who sought power and dominion in a new way. Verses 9 and 10 tell us more about him. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod the mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. Nimrod wasn't just a hunter of animals. This implies he was a hunter of men, a conqueror, a ruler who consolidated power. He was a kingmaker, and he established the first kingdom mentioned in the Bible after the flood, with Babel or Babylon as its center. This is the origin of the spirit of Babylon we see throughout Scripture, a system of human rebellion and self-glorification in opposition to God's will. Verses 11 and 12 describe his expansion. Out of that land went forth Asher, and builded Nineveh, and the city Rehoboth, and Calah, and reasoned between Nineveh and Calah. The same is a great city. Nimrod's influence spread from Babylon to Assyria, where he founded cities that would become major centers of the Assyrian Empire, like Nineveh. He was a master builder, but his motivation was centered on human might, not divine guidance. Next, from verses 13 to 14, we get the descendants of Mizraim, or Egypt, and Mizraim begat Ludan, and Enamim, and Lehabim, and Naphtuhim, and Pathrusim, and Caslahim, out of whom came Philistin, and Caphtorim. This is the lineage that gave rise to various peoples in and around Egypt, including the Philistines, who would become major adversaries of Israel for centuries. Then verses 15 to 19 detail the line of Canaan, Ham's youngest son, and Canaan begat Sidon his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgasite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite, and afterward were the families of the Canaanites spread abroad. These are the very tribes that inhabited the promised land before the Israelites arrived. Their names appear again and again during the conquest under Joshua. Verse 19 even maps out their territory, from Sidon down to Gaza and across to Sodom and Gomorrah. This shows us that the boundaries and locations of these peoples were precisely known. Now we come to the line of Shem, starting in verse 21, and to Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth the elder, even to him were children born. Shem is highlighted here as the father of all the children of Eber. Eber is the ancestor of the Hebrews, so this is a crucial detail. The Messianic line, the lineage of faith leading to Abraham and ultimately to Jesus Christ, comes through Shem. Verse 22 lists Shem's sons, the children of Shem, Elam, and Asher, and Arphaxad, and Lud, and Aram. These are the patriarchs of the Semitic peoples. Elam is associated with a region in modern-day Iran. Asher founded the Assyrians. Aram founded the Arameans, or Syrians. And Arphaxad is the key link in the chain leading to Abraham. Verse 24 makes this link explicit. And Arphaxad begat Salah, and Salah begat Heber. And verse 25, and unto Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days was the earth divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. The name Peleg means division, and the text tells us that in his days was the earth divided. This likely refers to the division of languages and peoples at the Tower of Babel, which we will explore in the next chapter. It was a pivotal moment in human history, when God scattered humanity across the face of the earth. From verses 26 to 30, we see the descendants of Joktan, Peleg's brother. And Joktan begat Almodad, and Jobab. These were the sons of Joktan. And their dwelling was from Mesha, as thou goest unto Sephara Mount of the east. These clans settled primarily in the southern parts of the Arabian Peninsula. Finally, the chapter concludes with verse 32. These are the families of the sons of Noah, after their generations, in their nations, and by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. This is the powerful summary. God has given us a divine record, showing that every nation and people group has a specific origin, tracing back to Noah's family. There is no such thing as a race that appeared from nowhere. We are all one blood, one human family purposefully separated and distributed by God Himself. This chapter isn't just a genealogy, it's a revelation of God's sovereignty over history and geography. It sets the stage for God's plan of redemption, which would be carried out through a specific family line, the line of Shem, through Abraham. It shows that God has a plan for every nation, and His ultimate desire, revealed in the New Testament, is that people from every tribe, tongue, and nation would come to know Him. Thank you so much for joining me today to unpack this incredible chapter. It's my prayer that you see the Bible not as a collection of disconnected stories, but as one unified, divine message of God's love and purpose for humanity. If this study has blessed you, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who might be blessed by it. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next session, where we'll look at the dramatic events of the Tower of Babel in Genesis 11. Until then, keep walking in the light of His Word. Brought to you by Cyber Elias Academy. God bless you.